guys, it's been a minute since I've been up here. This is a big thing for me already because I'm showing my room, part of my room. So it's a big vulnerability deal for me. I've always looked at it as how Mariah Carey showed her whole house on cribs but never showed her bedroom. So the fact that you're even getting to see a little bit of my bedroom is pretty crazy. But it goes really well with today's theme. I haven't been on here in a really long time, and to be honest with you, it's because I've been kind of nervous to come up here. I've noticed that the videos that I were doing was touching a lot of people in really positive ways. However, it was starting to become repetitive for me. I was finding myself constantly focusing on explaining every single moon and every major transit that was happening, to where it wasn't touching on topics that those transits were actually bringing as much as it was explaining those transits. I really needed to figure out whether I should be focused more on explaining things or focus more on what the energies were supposed to be bringing to you all. And now that I've understood how much these transits are affecting me in such a positive way, I do want to kind of refrain from focusing so much on explaining the verbiage and more so focusing on the topics that are actually coming about in the energy. So I did want to come up here because there's a lot of transits that occurred, or things that have happened in this season that really have shaken things up. So I want to talk on those things because I think these have been very heavy themes of vulnerability, with the season being in Cancer, and crying things out and getting things out to a point where you can kind of make room for everything else that's coming in. Also, I wanted to talk about a little thing called destiny, because this is something that a lot of people have their different perceptions on what it means, and this is the reason why I feel like many people confuse instinct or every second, going forward every second and making choice every second with, other aspects of astrology that causes you to say, oh, it's fate, or this is your destiny and my story's already written, which is everything but the truth in my personal opinion. So I wanted to go over a little bit about this season and make it where you can understand how even the nodes, when you talk about the destiny, really has to do with finding your purpose and focusing on where it can take you going forward. Cancer season has been kind of tough on a lot of us, and I think it really is because it kind of brings out all the waterworks after the crazy fun season of Gemini. Gemini is that fun energy that really allows us to really engage with all the sides of ourselves that bring out excitement. And when you go from being in that state of mind and then it switches into, okay, we're having so much fun and now I'm vulnerable. Now I'm feeling these feelings. It's almost like reminding you of those times that we go out and we party and we drink a lot and then we get home and everything seems fine. We might, have a moment to throw up in the toilet. This is gross, but it's the truth. And then you wake up and you have this hangover and it forces you just to sleep. And then could you ever imagine yourself when you go through that after going through a lot of changes, right? That's pretty much what a lot of us are feeling right now. A lot of us are feeling like we're in that hangover stage where we can't necessarily remove ourselves from out of this house, but we have to take in and accept the feelings of what we feel, because meanwhile, while we're trying to sleep, we're too drunk to sleep. We're too sick and drunk to sleep. Now we've slept enough. And then at the same time, we also can't get up and do other things. Now, a lot of us are going about the season and still partying and still getting involved with things of excitement, and because they have that particular energy. But at the end of the day, when you sit alone with your feelings, you really have to confront them. And a lot of us are like, what the hell is this? Right? What am I going through? Why am I going through these things? So we're finding ourselves, we're going to the beach thinking we're going to get a tan and we're crying. We go and bring a book to the park and we're crying. We go to our friend on the phone and we think we're going to get on the phone and talk about all the exciting things in our life, and we're crying about all the things that they feel like, why are they so dragged out? Why are they not just so dragged out? Why do they add so much tenderness to things that I'm not normally used to? But then you also have your water signs, or people that have an engagement with their emotions and they're able to accept them, that are they're just loving all of this beautiful energy that's going on. They're like, yes, this watery energy, you guys finally understand where I'm coming from. So a lot of us are going through either one or the other, and some of us are battling between the two of them, and sometimes you think you got yourself together and then you just don't. Or you have this energy where you're like, I think I want to cry, but no, I feel good. So there's multiple ways of how to feel during this time period. But what I can say, out of all the things that I did learn in this particular season, is you have to confront things that you need to work on. You have to confront feelings. You have to confront emotions. This brings me to the point of why I said bringing up this thing called destiny, because our destiny is to overcome the things that make us feel uncomfortable. Our destiny is to join things that we are comfortable with, and then taking that same concept and flipping it in a different way and seeing things in a different light. It's to make us uncomfortable. It's to make us step into an experience that we're not used to so we can see things from different angles. That is the point of our destiny in a whole. So a lot of us are sitting here fighting these tears when these tears are doing nothing but actually opening up opportunities for us to make room for all these new beginnings. You have these eclipses that are happening. So you have all this new moon energy that's just bringing in all this loving light and life. And a lot of us are wanting to hold on to the things that hurt because we're used to them. It has nothing to do with the fact that we want to hold on to it because it's good for us. Many of us know it's not good for us. But at the same time, we hold on to it because it's easier. And ultimately, you're not here for that. In this life, you are here to learn things that are not so easy so you can open your eyes to things that you've never experienced or gotten to taste or gotten to explore before. A lot of us focus so much on the energy of saying, like, I wish I could have done this. If I had this money, I would have been able to do this. If such and such wasn't in the situation, I would be able to do that. If I had the courage to do X, Y, and Z, I would get this done. You're putting all the wishes of the things that you wish into this well that you won't actually allow itself to feed you with that same water. You get what I'm saying? So you build up this well, you put all this energy into it, and then you don't drink from your own well. You don't actually indulge or even taste the water of the wishes that you put together, that you hoped to manifest, because you're scared. You're scared of what's going to happen if you actually even look into the well. Are you going to fall in? Are you going to drown? Are you going to sink? Or are you never going to come back out? Question that you need to say to yourself is, why would you want to come back out of a well full of your own wishes? That's the question that we need to ask ourselves. Why would you want to come back out? And that's that loving Piscean energy and that Cancer energy, and Scorpio, if you're willing to go all the way to the bottom, you know what I mean? That's that energy that's happening right now, that water energy, because why would you give that up for anything? For fear? To go back the other way? For what? This is what our destiny is. Our destiny has everything to do with the fact that you have to go forward into the unknown in order to swim, in order to learn how to float. Floating energy is that energy of relaxation, of trusting the process, of understanding the currents are going to go in different ways, but to float in them and understand that you can make it out and be okay. An unlimited, infinite, complete infinite energy that will technically never die. It's infinite. Time is only a human thing. It's only a process of understanding the experiences that you've been through. That's what time is. Time is just a monitor. It just monitors the things that you've been through. And honestly, a lot of us forget time. We forget things that have happened. We remember the highlights. A lot of us have memories from when we were 3 years old, but the highlights. Something you remember that sticks with you. That's Akashic Records. It remembers all of the highlights. The things that are going to stick out in your storyline. So when you go to your next life or the following life, you could take it with you and you have reactions. And your job is to figure out, why do I have this reaction? Then you combine it with the DNA of the avatar suit that you have chosen before you came into this life. So now you're combining that concept with the ancestors of whatever that suit belongs to. So now you're taking in some other stuff that you have to figure out. You chose this. You chose this experience so that way you can elevate, so you can ascend, so you can be a better person, so you can reach that ultimate highest level of self where that Kundalini energy comes in and out, and it connects your whole body, your Rahu, your Ketu, your North Node, your South Node, all of that coming together. Search what Rahu and Ketu is. Search the North Node and South Node. These are, if anything, these are parts of your chart that you really should focus on. And a lot of you guys are like, I have never heard of those terms in my life. And that's cool. That's what exploring is. That's what diving into the well is. If these are names that stick out to you and you're like, I want to know what that is, that's going to open up a journey. That's what destiny is about. Destiny is not written, I don't believe. Some people do believe that. There are aspects to Vedic astrology, which I do use the philosophy for astrology, Western concept of seasons, but then I'll also use philosophies of Vedic. And in Vedic astrology, a lot of times they feel like fate is already, it's done. It's like your story is written. And I feel like choice is still there. Although you may still have the storyline that you have created, it's the idea of playing it out. Right? How many times do we watch a movie or we read a synopsis of a movie or the summary of a book and we still read it? We still want to know what happens in between, right? That's the journey. A lot of us that read the story The Alchemist understand what I'm talking about. Like, it's a great story, and ultimately many of us had an idea of what would happen at the end, but it's the journey that counted. And that's what we need to focus on. So yeah, let's take away the concept that fate is already written. So what? Even if it was, it's the experience. It's the fact that you, before you even came into this life, you picked out everything. You said, this is exactly what I want to experience. I don't want to be told. It's almost like when you're young and your parents say, don't do this, and you do it anyway because you know deep down you want to go through why. You want to understand why. This is another thing you can Google. If you Google what Pluto is in the birth chart, it talks about the desires. Why are you desiring this experience? Ultimately, it's because it hasn't been experienced before. You want to explore it. The spirit wants to explore it. Bringing everything back again. The idea of this season and understanding Cancer season and understanding any water season or any season at that, they all have their purposes. The purpose of Cancer season is to confront things that you may not necessarily want to feel all the time. You don't want to feel it. You want to party, you still want to be in Gemini. Or you want to you want to jump to Leo. You want to be like, no, let's get now I'm ready to be social again. But you need to have those moments to confront the things that hurt, because if you don't give yourself the moment to confront things, how could you monitor the time it took to actually learn the things that you now know? How would you be able to monitor that? You couldn't. You're not giving yourself to even pat yourself on the back of all the things that you've been through, all the things that you've conquered. Veni Vidi Vici. I have it on right here. I came, I saw, I conquered. If you don't give yourself the time to congratulate yourself for all the steps that you've taken to get to the person that you are today, how are you going to know how strong you are now? How are you going to know what's next? What do you have planned next? Your next movement, even if it's you're an air sign and you're like, I don't want to know what my next movement is. I want to just live in it. Or a fire sign that's like, that's great, but I want a new beginning. But how are you going to even taste what that feeling of birthing a new experience if you don't take the time to actually go over the things that you have closed the chapters to, or the things that you've overcome? You have to take those times. You have to take those moments. That's really what's going to allow you to discover your destiny, because you took that extra step. You read that extra sentence, or you Googled that extra word that sounded so strange, and you're like, why is Suki always using these freaking astrology words? I'm not there yet. I don't understand that. I want to talk about the sun, moon, and rising. But if you don't take the second to Google Knows, or take the second to Google Lilith, or any of those things that are in your birth chart, or take the second to step outside of your door when you're feeling like the world is just not as glowing as it was the day before. You have to take those moments, because those moments are what counts. The present. That moment of getting up and saying, I want to experience this new life. I want to experience this scary unknown that I don't know what the hell is going to happen. But if you wake up every day and open your eyes, if you just pay attention to the fact that you're already looking in your well, and it's up to you whether you want to crawl back out of it, that's up to you. Opening your eyes is one step that many of us have not had the chance to do anymore. And the fact that you can open your eyes to a new morning, or a new night, or a new afternoon, or whenever you wake up, And you can get up and brush your teeth, or get up and get a drink of water, or get up and just cry. Even cry, or just to even feel miserable. To cry and feel miserable, you still got up. And if you turn on the light that lets you see the well that you're in, that Cancer energy that's normal for, anybody that has placements in Cancer that are strong, that shell. If you could see it and see all the wishes around you, if you just grab them, you will experience what your destiny is about. But you have to confront it, and you have to turn that switch on. Happiness is a choice, and you can choose to be happy at any moment. I have one more message before I go. And I've talked about this in my other video that I constantly tell you guys to watch, because it's probably one of the best videos I've ever made. It was so honest, and I have to go back sometimes and listen to that video to get me out of certain situations. Self-love or disease, that video. If you love a person and they see their destiny and they see it in front of them, and you choose to get in the way because your destiny is not glowing, or that you don't want to take that step into diving into your own well, to your own world of exploration and acceptance to the unknown, love is not getting in the way of someone else being able to do that. Love has so many different meanings, but it ultimately is this energy that promotes someone's magic. No matter how you cut it, it promotes your magic. Love is not abusive. Love is patient. Love is kind. Love is never jealous. I'm not by any chance religious when it comes to that, but I can definitely agree with those words. If somebody is taking the next step towards their destiny and they want to ascend, and your own fear of ascending makes you jump in front of them, do not tell that person that you love them. If you are two individuals that care about one another, however, you feel like you're not allowing each other to ascend in the appropriate manner, or you're not motivating the other person to ascend and them doing the same, evaluate your relationship. I say this constantly. There's no such thing as a relationship. I'll use my dog as an example. It's me and him. Me and him. This magical rope that creates this relationship, I'm not putting energy into this. I'm putting energy into this. We put our energy into our animals, right? We're going to talk about how there's a relationship. I have to get home to my dog because I want to make sure our relationship works, and I don't want him to be upset with me. That doesn't happen. I gotta get home because I have to feed my dog. I have to get home to make sure that my dog is let out, or make sure my cats aren't lonely. I have to get there. That is what you're putting into. Do the same thing for your significant other, or your family members, or your friendships, or your coworkers. I have to put work in to motivate us as a whole. But motivating us as a whole starts with motivating myself. And then once I motivate myself, I can give that energy to motivating someone else. And when I can't give that energy to motivating that other person, I have to give that person freedom, not necessarily break up with them, but I'm saying freedom to love themselves while I get my shit together. I can't hold on to them and tell them they can't move because I'm not moving. That's not love. You're ultimately cutting that person from a chance to experience their journey, their wishing well that they built. Destiny is what counts. But you are the person that's in charge of that. Nobody but you. And it doesn't matter what goes on around you. A lot of us are blessed even being able to see this video. Many of us are not in our minds where we don't have the conditions that other people may have. But everyone has that same concept in that negative state of mind. I don't care if I lived in a $3 million home. If I have the state of mind where I'm negative, I'm going to be like, this is not enough. I need more. Such and such down the street has a $20 million home. You're going to be in that state of mind. And I have a friend from work, and he says, I have a complex mind and he has a simple mind. And finally, once we talked, we both realized we were saying the same thing, but in different ways. And I do agree with him when he says, rather than focusing on the algebra, you have to focus on the basic math. If something's wrong with the basic math, your algebra's gonna, that higher equation is gonna be completely messed up. It's not going to, they're not gonna sync. You have to go back to the basics and bringing back consciousness to the basics. It's not about what you have. It's not about your title. It's not about what you wear. It's not about how others see you. Because at the end of the day, everybody's going to see you differently from different perspectives. It's about how you see yourself. It's about how you motivate yourself. It's about feeling good to step into something that you may not know what may happen. But trusting the process and trusting yourself that you'll make the right decisions to get yourself into a better situation that may not have occurred if you would have been in a negative state of mind. Coming back to self, trust in self, and then once you trust in self, know when it's necessary to allow yourself to motivate others and when it's time to draw it back because maybe you're not in that state of mind and you have to charge again as an individual. Destiny is everything. That's the purpose. That's the goal. You are in control of the foundation. This is the season that it's okay to cry and it's okay to write and it's okay to be. It's okay to be not just intuitive to others, but be intuitive to yourself and listen to yourself and be receptive to yourself and love thyself. And just focus on the journey. Or focus on the present and enjoy it for what it is. All you know is this life right now. As the concept of growing up, we grow up, right? We don't grow down. We grow up, we rise up. Have that same thought process when taking the next step. Yesterday you were here. Today, be here. And keep going. Keep growing and keep loving. It's about love, learning, and trusting. Love you guys. Let me know what you guys think about this video under the comments. Okay.